Our guest in this segment is a former congressman. He is J.D. Hayworth, was a representative in Arizona's 5th Congressional District from 1995 to 2007, and went to North Carolina State University. J.D. Hayworth. J.D., good morning. Thank you for being with us today. He's with the Pharmaceutical Reform Alliance now as we speak with him.
Hey, good morning, guys. And I know one thing, you're not going to change the name of this program to Morning Watch.
No, sir.
Ain't nobody wearing them. I'm sitting here listening to that, and I'm going, now, wait a minute. You know, the same things happen to me, the like wristband breaks or whatever, but I guess the cell phone takes over wherever we are to kind of become the de facto timepiece. But you didn't call me in to talk about time. You called me in to talk about, well, other numbers, the high prices on prescription drugs. On average, you and I as Americans are paying 3 times what the rest of the developed world is paying. And President Trump's instincts on this thing are right, the way he talks about, let's put America and Americans first. He's saying right now we're showing up dead last when it comes to a deal on prescription drugs, and that's one of the things that my former colleagues up on Capitol Hill better be paying attention to.
Yeah, and J.D., I think this is a bipartisan issue that we can all agree on. We pay too much for our prescription drugs. We pay way more than the rest of the world pays, and it is also, as my colleague John Gilstrap likes to say, not in the nation's best interest to have many of these pharmaceuticals made in China, and then we are reliant on them for our own medicine.
Well, you're absolutely right, as John is pointing out, and that's one of the other things. President Trump says, let's bring this home. And while some of the big pharma companies are saying, yeah, we're moving back, they're breaking ground on stuff that will not be really in the manufacturing pipeline for close to a decade. So what needs to happen here and now, and boy, if we were doing a Sunday show, well, maybe not. You guys have the common sense of the Eastern Panhandle, and it's all across America now. We're hearing so much about affordability, and we're also hearing about the polarization. You made the point. This is not a Republican or Democrat or libertarian or vegetarian issue. This is an American issue. Polling we did a few months ago, 84% of the American people get it. They're saying big pharma charges too much. And look, President Trump is no stranger to the motive and the motivation of profit, but there's a clear difference between profiting and profiteering. And what we've seen is the price of these drugs way outpace inflation in the United States. And so we've got to find solutions, and that's what I'd encourage people to check out at the website, pharmareformalliance.com.
Do we know why the drugs cost so much more in America than they do elsewhere?
Because, boy, I hate to put it this way, because on one hand, look, we all depend on pharmaceutical drugs. It's part of just about everybody's health plan, but the fact is that, who was it who said, well, I rob banks because that's where the money is?
Right.
Willie Sutton? I hate to be irreverent about it, but basically, the American people are looked upon as the cash cow. The money that's we have good incomes. Now it's not perfect, and you certainly have 51% of us saying that, hey, we know somebody who in their family budget is making a tough decision about food or medicine. But sadly, it has ever been thus. We tried to fight it 30 years ago. The president has taken steps with his executive order where he said most favored nation status. This is really flipping the script. Instead of extending that status to other nations, let's do it for America and Americans. And you hate to say it's greed, but again, the American people, a Kaiser family poll before the last election, we heard about all the polarization. Again, people across party lines to the tune of in the high 80 percentiles are saying big pharma is focused too much on profits to the detriment of the American people.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Yeah, good morning, J.D. This is kind of interesting. dilemma, I guess, or a conundrum. I go to the pharmacy. Actually, this happened not a month ago. Go to the pharmacy, and there's a prescription I got, and it was something outrageous, like $225 or something like that. Whoa, okay, because it's not. I'm on Medicare, but I also have this Good RX program. What I don't even know what that is, but and they say, oh, okay, well then it's $23. So somebody is paying this. The drugs to me, the prices I pay, literally John pays out of his pocket, aren't that high. But because the insurance companies are picking it up, my question is, are the insurance companies the problem?
Hey, do we have throw away the watches? It's a good thing, guys. We'll just take the whole day to talk about this. I mean, John, you've touched on it. Healthcare financing in America, and what went on when basically previous presidents got American consumers out of the healthcare price watch business is something where we could go back and say, gee, if we'd done this, if we'd done that. Again, the president's trying to get a handle on it. He started with some price points. You mentioned programs that offer discounts. But again, even when you figure in the discounts, we're still paying 3 times as much as the rest of the world. Now, what we have to do is deal with the here and now. And that's why it's so important that we move forward on these plans to make prescription drug prices more affordable. It doesn't have to come through the heavy hand of government. President Trump and his team have shown they've got some hard-nosed negotiators. Look at just what happened with the weight control drugs, the GLP-1. There are some real price points. There have been other agreements with other big pharma companies, but again, they've been rifle shots. We need to expand it across the board. That's where the Congress comes in. One of the ways you make prescription drugs more affordable, you take a look at the fact that the United States and New Zealand are the only 2 countries in the world that allow over-the-air ads for pharmaceuticals, for big pharma. Now, some people say, well, it's a First Amendment issue. Well, hang on a second. Free speech ain't free when you and I are paying for it. And when you take a look at the numbers on this thing, the fact that something like $36 billion with a B has gone into marketing, and considerably less we hear on some of the commercials from Big Pharma. Well, it goes into research and development. No. The profit margins are huge. The big pharma companies, on average, it's double what the standard profit margin is on the S&P 500. I know it's hard to believe, but the numbers are there. You can find out more at PharmaReformAlliance.com. So I hate to say it boils down to greed, but it does boil down to, well, how can we maximize profits? And you have a situation where there's profiteering. The American people get it. The prices far outstrip inflation. So you start the scrutiny. You stop the anti-competitive practices, because one of the reasons you talked about the drugs there, John, and what you were able to get at a discount rate, you have generics, but a lot of the times red tape prevents the generic drugs from coming to market as quickly as possible. And the other thing I talked about, we've got to increase the transparency of these marketing practices, because the American people are getting it in the wallet and elsewhere, coming and going. As taxpayers, a good chunk of our change goes to research and development, right, through government. And then you've got the private dough going in, quote, private dough, but it is dwarfed in comparison to the profit margins of big pharma.
So greed is a constant, right? So that's the one thing that's not going to go away. And there's the cliche that the first pill costs $2 billion, and then after that, we start earning that back. So if in fact, actions have consequences. I'm just devil's advocating here. Actions have consequences. So if suddenly Big Pharma is not making the the money that they are because we cut our pill prices by 2/3, right, to make it what the rest of the world is paying. They're going to be making less money. That doesn't mean they're going to be paying themselves less. So doesn't that actually mean that there'll be fewer $2 first pills? Isn't this actually going to have an R&D impact?
Well, I don't think we can make that jump because I appreciate trying to set up the hypothetical, and I understand the concept, what you're trying to say. The challenge is always in the details. But it's like an accountant told me, my accountant, when we're dealing with taxes, I sat on the Ways and Means Committee, served on that committee. I would hear from certain professional groups, we don't like what you're doing here in terms of tax savings, in terms of cutting taxes. And my accountant said, that's just the professional groups belly aching because they got to study up on the new provisions. Believe me, keep cutting taxes so Americans have more money in their pockets. The same thing follows here. Cut prices, Americans have more money in their pockets. Big Pharma, we may impute to them the high standards of pharmaceutical drug research, but the fact is, in 2025, we've seen increases on some 800 medicines that have not been innovations, certainly not in the past several years. And yes, you want to keep innovations going, but you never err making sure that the American people can afford things. And I think that's the concept that really transcends a variety of policy issues. If the American people have more money to save, spend, and invest, rather than the major corporations, it helps everybody in the economic cycle.
JD, you have time for one more question?
You bet.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, when you talked about the advertising side of things, I see those ads all the time. I mean, you can't watch TV and not see them. Are they effective in any way? Like, how many people walk into their doctor's office and go, hey, I saw this ad for whatever the name of the medicine is. I think I should try this. What do you think?
You know what? A lot more of an impact than you would think. According to the studies we've seen, the average U.S. TV viewers sees at least 9 pharmaceutical ads a day, and you take a look at that over the entire year, that's 16 hours of drug commercials. They're promoting, according to one analysis, more expensive and less effective drugs. And people are going into their primary care providers saying, give me the thing I see on TV. Now, understand, if we're spending yearly 16 hours seeing these ads, how much time is not a knock on our primary care physicians? But you and I don't see our primary care physicians to the tune of 16 hours during the year. And so this marketing, even with the voice talking very quickly about, hey, in some cases this could cause death, and all the other countervailing stuff, you have the triumph of marketing. And again, Big Pharma is spending $36 billion more on sales and marketing than on research and development. That tells you what's going on. Follow the money. Visual impact and repetition do make a difference, and that is what has happened with this. And again, it's not a free speech issue. Only the U.S. and New Zealand do this. And the USA, no offense to our friends way down in New Zealand, but there are a heck of a lot more people here who are paying a heck of a lot more for their medicine than New Zealand or the rest of the developed world.
Haven't they been able to escape laws changes, though, because they pump a lot of money into the pockets of those who run for office?
Well, they go to Capitol Hill, and I will tell you, whether it's Washington, D.C., or all 50 state capitals across this country, we are seeing increased spending. Again, just to rebound off that advertising remark, we saw just under $200 million pumped in, I believe, in the month of September. I think $199 million on TV ads and that kind of marketing, and we have seen millions. Some of the reporting from Washington says we haven't seen the kind of spending by lobbying from Big Pharma in quite some time, the levels they are hitting right now. Now, everybody's got a chance to make their case, and there's, people say, well, these guys get their palms greased. No, it's people coming in with access and saying, look, here's the way we see it. And they bring up some arguments, but you'll never go wrong siding with the American people. And here's the thing that members of the House and Senate need to understand. Our polling shows 86% of Americans will side with a candidate for Congress and the Senate who fights Big Pharma. So you'll never go wrong being on the side of the people, and that's something my former colleagues in Washington, D.C. need to understand.
J.D. Hayworth, thank you so much for your time here. By the way, you went to North Carolina State around the same time Bill Cowher went there. Did you guys ever know each other?
Billy C., do we know each other? Yeah, now Billy C. was a great linebacker, and, I was recruited as right tackle, ended up left out. But Billy C. claims when he was a sophomore starter and I was a freshman, and you can ask him about it, he says he was never hit harder on the football field than he was one day in practice by J.D. Hayworth. And I say, Billy, you got it confused. It was just my breath that formed a wave of paralysis for you. But no, it was those guys, and I'll tell you, my Wolfpack, as a few years ago, I know it was a tough year for the Mountaineers this year, but my Wolfpack was absolutely humbled by West Virginia the last time we met, and that still sticks in my craw. But these years pass, and the stories may grow more fantastic. For the real story on prescription drugs, though, guys, PharmaReformAlliance.com.
J.D., thank you so much for your time this morning. Very well done.
Hey, thank you. Bring me back. I'd love to be a repeat offender.
Oh, pleasure, sir. I'll take you up on that.
Sounds great. Take care.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.